We're going to go ahead and talk about the Oakland Raiders 2018 draft class and some of the free agency talk. First of all, I was happy that we ended up with an earlier draft pick this year after all the nonsense we went through last year.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, I was upset.
I couldn't say any better.
Rod Woodson flipped a coin and we got to pick 10th overall instead of 9th overall. And Rod Woodson, the Raider hater, as I like to call him.
He played for her team.
He is a Raider hater. That guy hates the Raiders.
No, Goodell hates the Raiders.
As soon as Gruden got hired, all he had was negative things to say, but it's also because he just got fired. You got fired because you were the worst defensive back coach in the league. Stop trying to push that you're a good coach. Sorry.
And then Kenny Norton didn't help his case at all either.
Well, I think it was Del Rio's fault overall. It didn't really improve until Pagano took over the defense. I gotta say that I do appreciate all of you that are watching. I'm sorry I'm doing a little bit of the Brooklyn or, what is it, Bostonian accent?
Something.
I don't know, it's something in between.
The Al Davis accent.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm trying to do is mimic Al Davis, the former owner of the Oakland Raiders.
R.I.P.
Yeah, rest in peace. There's actually a channel that is developed out in the same area where Al Davis is called Cape Cod Raiders on YouTube. Check them out sometime. They're pretty good. And also Mikey Raider on YouTube. He's pretty funny. If you're into some nonsense and some antics and him trying to piss you off, there you go. That's the guy. If you want to be mad at an Oakland Raiders fan, there's the guy to go get mad at. Then, sorry. Sanji TV does some in-depth analytics of the game. I don't really like analytics very much myself. I'm more of just a player's guy. Like, I like to see the game unfold. Like, more X's and O's more than numbers and figures.
Right, like, kind of going against what modern-day sports altogether is moving
the
towards.
fantasy football element of it is not really my forte. I like to pick guys that are strong suited, and that's why I was never really great at fantasy football, because I picked guys I liked them, you know?
Okay.
I picked Doug Jolly one year, and that was in 2001 or 2002 or something like that.
How'd you finish in that year?
I finished horribly.
Yeah,
but I was also, I was a young kid, and I'm excited now because John Gruden's actually put together a great draft class, in my opinion, and I'm going to go ahead and give this draft an unbiased B+.
Wow. Okay, so let me tell you guys right now. We're both Raider fans, right? But we're also football fans, and we both understand the game. And with that being said, as a Raider fan, if I isolate the draft from round 2 and 4 and back, I give it an A. Just a solid A. With the first round included, B-, C+. Like, that's how much I dislike this first pick, but we'll get into that in a minute.
I think the reason why I gave it a B+ was because of the fact of the first round pick.
Well, this will be interesting to see.
Yeah, because there's some other picks down the line and some moves that were made that were kind of questionable. I still have some questions about why not a linebacker at 10. There was still some available, but a lot of people have been upset about that. But I don't really like Tremaine Edwards either, so if that was the guy they were going to go with as the linebacker, I'm glad that they passed up on that.
Wow, that's funny because honestly, he's one of the people that when I was looking at the draft, watching it play out, I thought that was exactly the player that they needed.
Too young. He's too immature to be on this team. Honestly, in my opinion, they need more established mental guys because the pressure of the NFL can crack down on young players, especially a 19-year-old kid playing in the NFL. That's really tough for him to really stomach at the beginning too.
Yes, but at the same time, as you're well aware of the longest problems that we've been having as Raider fans is watching two things: inability to catch the football and bad tackling. And unfortunately, they had a chance to get not just him, but they're the Jair Alexander guy from that went to Green Bay, and then there's another guy I can't remember who it was that they could have taken, and instead they get an offensive tackle who may even if he works out to be a Pro Bowl player. There's other needs that are holding them back when they're giving up big play after big play. The inability to tackle the ball carrier and inability to catch the football.
Well, and I thought that they addressed that in this draft, more personally. But it also comes down to this. They schematically last year were the worst design team in the league. I felt like the Browns were a better designed football team than the Raiders were last year.
Based off a game plan, yes.
I literally saw the Madden 96 playbook on the sideline with their offensive coordinator.
I think a couple times he even called and asked Madden.
I think this was the whiteboard during the game for Todd Downing sometimes. He was a little bit,
A little bit confused.
Yeah, he doesn't really know what he's doing. So... And I don't blame him. He was a first-year offensive coordinator, but
hopefully his last.
Hopefully, because that was terrible. He needs to go back to quarterback coaching.
Did they get rid of him? Actually,
they did. They did.
Good.
They got a new quarterback coach. They also brought in Greg Olson as the new offensive coordinator, which I like because of it. The continuity happens.
The tight end from Carolina, Greg Olson.
No, the coach.
Oh, that's not the same guy?
No, there's two Greg Olsons in the NFL. Yeah.
Greg Olson is the most popular name.
Apparently, in the NFL, it is. So
I should have changed my name back a long time ago.
Your name is not Greg Nelson.
No, it's Greg Olson.
Oh. Okay, so without any more gilding the lily, as they say, we're going to get straight on to our first pick of the draft, which was Colton Miller, the tackle out of UCLA. Number 15 overall because they traded back. Mm-hmm. I thought that this was a great pick. I do not like Donald Penn. I have not liked Donald Penn for some time, and I'm glad that they have found someone to finally replace him.
Okay. Let me tell you why this was a bad pick. They went from 10 to 15, and I remember watching the draft with some other Raider fans, and we all agreed almost to the T where when they made the pick and they got pennies on the dollar for their trade, I think, if I remember correctly, they got a third and a fifth to move back 5 spots when Arizona desperately needed a quarterback. And they knew that Miami was probably going to be taking Josh Rosen at, 11? Mm-hmm. So if they don't make that move, they probably were going to get that quarterback. So Oakland, first of all, doesn't get good value in return for the trade.
All right. Hold on 1 second. Because there was another trade that was made that day that makes this value, in my opinion, completely valid.
Okay.
Martavis Bryant is a first-round talent, and they got him for a third-round pick. And
right.
the third-round pick that they got in this trade. So everything, McKenzie, tying stuff together nicely. I thought he tied a bow on this draft pretty good this year.
Right.
As opposed to last year where I thought the strikeout with Connolly and everything, and Melifonwu not getting to play.
Yeah. Well, and the thing, moving forward, like, I kind of talked about a little bit earlier, is that they just did not address the tackling needs at linebacker and at the coverage at safety that they needed. I'm not a fan of Reggie Nelson. They need to get him out of Oakland. If he isn't already, I'm not really too sure if he's still there.
He's still there. They had to re-sign him to a new contract.
If they can get Gary and Conley on the field and have him stay healthy, that's going to be a plus. But I just see too many.
He's got accusations still on him. He's still dealing with legal trouble too. So it's kind of like up in the air with Conley.
Exactly.
I'm glad that they went out in free agency and got a couple guys that were actually going to be solid players to go ahead and fill that back in. But what I really liked about this is that they went offensive tackle first, and then they go into their second pick, and they end up getting P.J. Hall, the defensive tackle out of Sam Houston State.
I love this pick.
I love the fact that this guy just destroys the middle of the field. He destroys centers and guards. He completely outruns them and blows them up and gets a lot of blocks, too.
And the thing about the Raiders' defense of what they want to do, you're not going to see him specifically making a lot of plays, but you're going to be seeing a lot of the ability to allow Khalil Mack, Bruce Irvin,
Yes.
Mario Edwards to come in and make these plays.
And I actually semi-disagree with you. I think that Jelly Ellis, our defensive tackle from last season and the years prior, is a two. He takes up double teams already. So now you put this guy up next to him, and now he's getting a one-on-one matchup with Khalil on the outside. You just created two matchup nightmares right next to each other wherever you rotate it, whether it goes to Irvin's side or Mario Edward.
Well, and that's what I mean, yeah.
You, this guy is going to be the big deal. This is my stud of this draft.
This guy, and then I honestly like the next pick we're going to talk about a lot too.
Because they actually added the right tackle as well.
Correct.
In Brandon Parker, the tackle out of North Carolina A&T.
Right. Coming from a small school, but that doesn't mean anything. Look at Khalil Mack coming from Buffalo.
Exactly. And I've seen so many small school quarterbacks even come into the league. And
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen's going to be a great quarterback in my opinion. You see some of these guys from smaller schools come in. Derek Carr.
Yep.
That's a small school. Fresno State isn't really a huge place.
No.
So coming in there and playing the way he did, too, in the pros was impressive.
Mm-hmm. I also think that solidifying those two offensive tackles is going to be huge. As much as I don't like the first-round pick, if you're going to do that, you have to combo it with this third-round pick like they're doing now. They saw that Derek Carr hurt is not what it needs.
It doesn't win them games.
No.
12-4 after the injury. They were already 12-2 at that point, I believe, and they lost the last two games.
They did.
Of that.
Well, he got injured in the one game that they actually won because they were ahead by so much.
Finished 12-2.
Correct.
Right
they lost the week 17, and then they lost against Houston in the playoffs.
No, they lost 3 games in a row.
Was it 3 games in a row?
3 games in a row.
Well, they lost more than that this past year, but
Yeah, it's rough because they had a tough time last year too when he got hurt and the back injury.
Right.
And you got to make sure that this guy's standing up on his feet because he can throw from so many different platforms that if he, with Jordy Nelson, and like I said, that third-round pick trade for Martavis Bryant.
I do like the Bryant pick trade.
You get 2 deep threats right there with Jordy Nelson basically filling in as a Larry Fitzgerald kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
This is a dangerous offense on the passing.
And the thing that you didn't even mention is the fact that they still have that young Amari Cooper. If he can learn to catch the ball in traffic, he will be a top 10 receiver in football.
Well, I don't think that traffic is going to be as much of an issue with Martavis being there because now that's going to take some of those double teams away from him because as soon as Martavis burns him once in the game, they're going to have to compensate and start going some cover 2s. And then that's when you have Jared Cook and you see where Gruden's seeing it too.
Yeah.
Gruden's getting super excited right now. He's probably sitting there like, I'm going to run spotted banana. I'm going to kill these guys right now. Because
he loves
there's
that
nobody. There's nobody who can stop him. And I got beast mode, and I got all of them.
You can see just John Gruden over there going, all right, let's get this season started. But let me ask you a question. You got those 3 weapons. You got Bryant, you got Jordy, and you got Amari Cooper. Who actually does get kicked inside, in your opinion?
Who's going to get kicked to the side?
No,
Seth Roberts is going to get kicked to the side. That's who's going to get kicked
inside into the slot.
I think that they can all switch out. I think that a rotational situation and we'll get to it later, they had a good draft pick as a wide receiver too that I really like. And they got some slot guys that are trying out for the team. More special teams, but these guys can actually come in and probably play more of a Wes Welker type role.
Perhaps, yeah.
And Jordy knows RPOs already from his time in Green Bay.
He does indeed.
So that's going to bring over that Sean McVay, Philadelphia Eagle, Aaron Rodgers style offense over to Derek Carr, which he's already more than capable of changing routes at the line of scrimmage and handling himself.
Right. And I think the biggest thing is the fact that based off of the moves that they've made thus far in the offseason through the draft and free agency, they look to me like they actually want to run the ball more than they want to pass the ball.
That's true, but by running the ball, we always open up the pass.
That's correct.
And I see what will happen is that Marshawn may get 75, 80 yards a game if he's the full-time back. If they split him between Doug Martin and him, I can see roughly about 50 yards a piece, probably, or like Doug Martin and the tandem backs that they might bring in.
Jalen Richard.
I still think that they may cut him. I think they may
or
cut
who?
one of those two guys, whether it's Washington or Richard.
I hope they cut.
They need to
Martin.
cut one of them.
I hate Martin. He averaged 2.2 yards a carry last, or I think it was 2.2, 2.6, like right in that range.
You're right, but look at his offensive line. You know,
Fact.
and now you get him in his zone blocking scheme with Gruden, who's already had him before. You know, this might be a recipe for success for him to kind of make a comeback with this team.
And, you know, kind of playing devil's advocate a little bit, if you look at Martin's numbers in the previous years, he's gone from a huge year to an off year, huge year to an off year. Well, this year he is due for a big year, so we'll see what happens with that.
Now, we got to get on moving on to our next pick.
Correct.
So we're going to go on to the defensive end out of LSU, Arden Key. I believe this is third round, number 87 overall.
I love this guy.
I thought that this was a great pick.
Oh, my goodness. They needed some depth at the defensive line, and he's going to be filling a much-needed role, playing a lot on the field.
Yeah, this is the rotational guy I'm thinking that'll
Absolutely.
come in and actually give Mario Edwards, Bruce Irvin, and Khalil a break sometimes.
Absolutely.
And that would be great for all of them. And plus, he's an instant impact player, too.
Yes.
He may have seen a little bit of a dip in production his senior year, but the upside with this guy is much higher than some of the other options that we could have picked. Like, that's why I say that this is a better pick than Edwards, in my opinion, for the team right now.
Yeah.
Going forward.
Especially coming from the SEC, you know, that to me is the strongest conference in all of football. And I definitely respect the players that they get from there on the defensive side of the ball, specifically.
And so we're going to move on to the fourth round pick, Nick Nelson, cornerback out of Wisconsin. He's actually had a nation high total of 21 pass breakups. That's pretty impressive.
That's something that they definitely needed. You know, we talked about it earlier. You know, they needed some better coverage.
Yeah, slot corners are necessary in the game, too. Like, if you don't have a guy who can cover the slot, then you usually have some major issues going forward. And with the loss of TJ Carey this year, this is a great replacement for them. I couldn't have foreseen that this was going to happen, but as soon as this pick was made, that's all I could think of was TJ Carey, a guy who can possibly even go over and play safety sometimes.
Potentially.
Yeah, it's because he's not the quickest guy, but he can cover really well. A lot of issues with PIs, though, I could see with this guy because he kind of just hugs all over him, too.
Yeah, but at the same time, I feel like it won't be as much of an issue because I think he'll be more of a rotational player like we've been discussing, especially if Connolly is able to stay on the field. I think that'll definitely kind of push this guy a little bit off, except for in nickel and dime coverages. But I think that when he's on the field, I think he's going to be definitely someone that's going to be able to produce.
And the Raiders picked in the fifth round, number 140th overall pick, Maurice Hurst, defensive tackle out of Michigan. Al Davis would have liked this pick, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He's just a big dude that can come in there and wreak havoc. That's what they need. They need more inside rushers and more inside run stuffers. That's what they have to do to play good in this league.
Right, especially when you go up against those top-tier quarterbacks like Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. They have got to be able to apply pressure with just their front four.
Easily. Like, you can't blitz Tom Brady all day long. He will beat you.
Right.
And that's the sad part. I don't like Tom Brady. But it's the tuck rule. It's just because the tuck rule, guys.
Well, he didn't make the tuck roll.
No, but he's the one who fumbled the damn ball that Charles Woodson should have picked up and ran for a touchdown, but he just held on to the ball. And then, yeah.
Well, I don't know if you actually heard this or not, but I guess allegedly, rumor has it that after the game, Tom Brady admitted that he thought, even himself, that he fumbled. So, you know, he was just as surprised as anyone else. But, whatever.
Still don't like Tom Brady. So Johnny Townsend, the punter out of Florida, was drafted in the 5th round. I did see this one coming.
Yes.
I did see that we needed a punter in the draft to replace Marquette King.
Thank God that he's gone.
I know, the Twitter distractions, the nonsensical chain picture on there.
That was the turning point for me.
Well, he sounded like such a traitor in that, too.
Well, did you hear about the whole thing with Bruce Irvin? and all that? Yeah.
Oh, I'm excited for next season. I can't wait for Bruce Irvin and Ty back and just obliterate that guy.
Right.
I'm willing to take one 15-yard penalty and Bruce Irvin sitting out to let our boy over here, what's his name? Crap. Arden Key get out there on the field and wreck some havoc in this place.
Right.
Especially against them.
Well, and the biggest thing to me, you played sports, you get it. If anyone's going to have your back, it needs to be those guys in the locker room.
Oh, yeah.
And if they're going after the game to, joke about, something like that, Aqib Talib blatantly disrespected him, Michael Crabtree.
Yeah.
Not just once, but twice. And you're going to go over there and joke about it with him, taking the picture and whatnot. You got to get him out of there.
Yeah, and I'm glad that they got rid of Crabtree, though, too, at the same time. And I'll explain why in a little bit when we get to our last pick. But we're going to go over our 6th round, 216th overall pick, Azim Victor, a linebacker out of Washington.
Yeah, I like this guy. I think he's going to be more of a special teams role.
So did McKenzie.
Yeah. I think he'll be pretty solid on there, punt and kickoff, maybe punt return, whatnot. But aside from that, I don't really foresee him seeing the field too often.
No, not really, but that's where he's going to make his money, is that he's going to be on special teams. And when you can kind of make money on special teams, it really doesn't hurt you in the long run. You can actually create a better career off of being a special teams player sometimes than trying to be that superstar.
And he may develop into a third down guy or maybe just a first and second guy, into a specific role just to find more playing time.
He did seem like he was a little bit quicker, so that would make sense.
Right.
And now, Marcel Aitman. This is a guy I really like. I actually like this pick a lot because this guy can get up there and go get the ball for Carr.
Right.
And that's the guy that you were talking about in traffic that can go up there and already fight for the ball. Mm-hmm. He reminds me of Andre Holmes from a couple of years ago.
Okay.
And so this guy being the number 4 receiver would be my ideal situation.
Yeah, definitely. I think that I remember watching them play. I have a friend that goes to Oklahoma State, so I kind of paid a little bit more attention to him. And I feel like there was a couple times where he made Rudolph look better than what he was, to be honest.
And that's kind of what I thought, too. Mm-hmm. Any guy who can make this guy into a top prospect, usually there's connecting names here, people. If you guys haven't paid attention, the tackle that they picked out of UCLA blocked for Josh Rosen. That's one of the top 10 quarterback, or top 10 picks altogether, but he's extremely, he was 11, wasn't he? Yeah, he was 11th. He was our old pick. 10. We were 10. We were at 10. Never mind. I stand corrected. I'm an idiot. Al Davis would be booing me.
Give us our extra pick.
I want that goddamn 11th pick, too. God damn it. I don't know what else to tell you, motherfucker. All right. Try to get back to the Raiders here and Marcel Aitman. Basically, I really think that when he gets out on the field with Jordy Nelson, with Martavis Bryant,
I know who you meant.
Yeah. I don't want to make it sound like I was saying Martellus Bennett, though, either.
Martavis Bryant.
Out
of Pittsburgh.
And Amari Cooper. Mm-hmm. And Jared Cook in a 5 wide receiver combo set. Oh, my goodness. You have so many options if you're Carr. You can pick apart defenses all day long.
Not to mention the fact that, according to John Gruden, what his plan is to come out of open up the drive in a huddle, but then to go no huddle throughout the whole entire drive, every single drive, which means that those third and fourth options, those fifth options, are going to become more and more viable as those safeties and linebackers
tire down.
Exactly.
Too.
Third and fourth quarter, they're going to be gassed, and he would be out there running circles around him.
And that's what the Raiders' offense needed last year.
Yes.
In my opinion, right when that defense looked gassed to me because of Marshawn just pounding the rock, where was the play action? It never came.
No.
They never once had Carr turn his back to the line of scrimmage and try to fake the ball like that. They didn't.
It was honestly either they were in a 3 tight end set or in a 5 wide set. And they weren't disguising what you're doing.
No.
They never did, like you said, they never did play action. They wouldn't even do a straight drop back out of the 3 tight end.
Their biggest run plays came out of shotgun with
Jalen Richard.
Yeah, and then they would have these big pop plays from beast mode out of
Yeah.
nowhere, out of the shotgun, because they would get him looking pass, hit him with that run, and that's how you're supposed to play football.
Remember that run first game of the year with against Jarrell Casey?
Yeah, it just ran
what a
him
hit.
over. I'm gonna put that one on the YouTube. Sorry for you guys on Facebook. I'll have more clips on the other one. You may not see our faces in this video particularly, but you will have a complete audio commentary on this one and maybe some video graphics to kind of explain what we're talking about at the same time.
Right.
Now, that's pretty much it for us on Facebook. If you guys have been watching the whole time, thank you very much for sticking with us. Like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and just like the video if you like what we did here. If you have any comments, concerns, questions about any other teams, particularly possibly the 49ers, we're going to be talking about that next.